So my name is Mariana Pasurao, and I'm studying accounting, and I'm from Chile. So I don't know.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I forgot.
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Tell me a little bit about Colby's class. What did you do in that class?
Okay, so Colby's class was money and economics, and basically we just the purpose of the class was to help us become financially literate, and so he wanted us to be able to read the the Wall Street Journal and just be able to understand the articles, and so we talked a lot about banking and just the financial system in general, and like bonds and just a little bit of like macroeconomics as it pertains to the U.S. But yeah, that was the main thing. Mm-hmm.
So what was different? Was there anything different about that class?
Yeah, something that was different about the way that Professor Wright taught was that, and he told us this up front, that he likes to follow a narrative with his lectures. And so he tries to make it a story. Why? Because he really feels like stories are what stick with students. And so everything, he obviously shared things really chronologically, but he really just helped us understand hey, maybe this one financial system issue that we had in 2008 started in 2000 when this happened and then this happened and so on. And so I feel like that's one thing that really did keep us engaged, and he's a really amazing storyteller actually. And he talks, it was funny because a couple times during the semester he mentioned how he used to be coached a team or something, and he's like I'm not doing that anymore, so I kind of just sometimes have the urge to yell and just talk really passionately to you guys, and he definitely did that a lot in class. And so and he's just a very charismatic, open person, and really funny too, so I don't know, yeah, he really made it memorable.
So talk to me a little bit about the spiritual aspect of the class. What did he do to bring spirituality into the class?
So something that he did to bring spirituality into the class is that he was just very open about his own spiritual beliefs and kind of his state and how he's developing his spiritual side. For example, President Monson had just barely passed away at the beginning of the semester, and so he just told us that he was personally reading all of his talks. He was going back to the beginning and reading through all of his talks, and so it was super cool because at the beginning of each class we'd have a spiritual insight, and so he would take from his personal reading a paragraph or something and have one of us read it, and then we'd just comment about it. And so I feel like I said, he was just extremely open about just how he felt and also his testimony. And so I felt like it just gave us an environment where, since he's open, if you want, you could also go talk to him and you can make comments about that as well. And it just made him also, I'd say, very likable, because you could see that he was a good person. You could see he wasn't hiding anything, and he wasn't pretending to be perfect either. He just was himself.
So how did that spiritual aspect affect the class? Did it affect the class? Did it affect you?
Yeah, I think because it showed me that.
Because it what?
Oh,
because
sorry.
what? That's okay.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
repeat the question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So how did that spirituality? How did him bringing the spirituality into the class? How did it affect the class, or you, or both?
So him bringing the spirituality into the class affected me and the class, because I think it just taught us that this is something I've learned from a lot of professors at BYU, that even though they are excellent professionals and they really know their stuff, their secular stuff, what makes them such an amazing person under all of that is just the quality of their person. They're good people and they want to be Christ-like. And so he was just extremely transparent about how he was developing his spirituality and his testimony and just his growth, and it made us, I think, feel like we can relate to him, and again just see no matter what career we go into and how much we know, it's really important even to these people that are brilliant and amazing to develop their spirituality and to make sure that's healthy.
So did the class What did you learn from the class? And let's focus a little bit more on the spiritual side. Did you learn anything from it? How did it change you? Did it change you at all?
So maybe one way that the class changed me spiritually was, I guess, just understanding, I'd say, people that are struggling with their testimonies, and just knowing that, like, it's all just a learning process, and it's okay to not be sure about some things as long as you are sure about some things. You know, you have a testimony about some things, and that's what you stick to, and that's maybe why you stay in the church, and maybe that's enough for now, and you're exploring things and trying to come closer to God. And so I think it also helped me realize that, I guess it's not that your real allegiance is to God and Jesus Christ, maybe, and not necessarily like all of the like particular practices or maybe cultural parts of the church that aren't necessarily doctrine, or they might be, you know. But just how what's really important is to stay true to the gospel and like believe in God and Jesus Christ.
So, did you appreciate that in the class? Why or why not?
Yeah, I really appreciated it. I appreciated that in the class because it was so, just really candid, open environment, and so, like I said before, you just felt really like safe. I guess you felt like it was a safe space, and like wherever you are in your spirituality, it's okay. Yeah, I forgot the question.
No, that's okay. That was fine. What could other professors do in that sense, in the spiritual sense? What could other professors do? What would you suggest they do? Would you suggest that other professors bring that into the class?
Yeah, I would suggest that other professors, yes, maybe be open, because it really does develop like rapport with people, you know, when you share about your spirituality and just like, you know, your beliefs and maybe what you're doing to strengthen your testimony. If anything, it will help them see like, hey, maybe I should be doing that too, or like I should also take this more seriously than I am. But I also think it was really great and unique that Professor Wright made sure to integrate at least one gospel topic, like with the actual content of the class, because he talked about the Kirtland Safety Society, and he did that when he was teaching his unit on banking, and so it just fit perfectly, and so it was really interesting to learn more about the historical context of this and how basically any bank that was created in that time was pretty much going to fail because of outside like economic forces, you know, and because he said that he also, he brought in the spiritual aspect, and he just said how like that might shake up some people's testimonies, maybe, you know, maybe like you might think, oh, well, if Joseph Smith really was inspired to make this bank, like, or like, was it God who told him, or like, why did it fail, like if it was from God? And so he took a whole day to explain that, to talk about the historical context for the Kirtland Safety Society, and then, but at the end, he just let us kind of share like our thoughts behind it, like, well, why do you think it failed? Like, do you think there was like a spiritual component to this? Like, was it some part of God's plan? Like, you know, and so he didn't like tell us straight up like an answer, like this is how it was or why these are God's reasons, but he just let us think about it and reason through it, and so that's kind of like a good way to blend, you know, the class material with spiritual things.
Excellent. What else did he do that really made you enjoy the class? You talked about the stories. You talked about the safe space with the spiritual. What else did he do, if anything?
Something else that he did that really helped me, made me enjoy the class, was that he just was, like I said, just so open. And so he not only shared stories about, you know, about his spirituality and a story that might have to do with the class content, you know, but like he shared about stories from his personal life, maybe about his career, because he did study accounting, for example, like that was his bachelor's, and that's what all of us in the class were studying. And so I guess that also helped us understand, maybe like see an example of someone's professional development, and how honestly he didn't like want to be in accounting at the beginning, or he didn't like it when he started working in it, and so he switched completely and he's more in finance now. So I think that's something else that really added to the class that I thought was valuable. So he just had like a spiritual aspect, like his personal professional, something about his personal professional life, And obviously the class content was really good. He just made it fun.
Excellent. So why did you choose to come to BYU? Was the spiritual aspect, did that have anything to do with it? Why did you come here?
Yeah, I came here because, I definitely just wanted a place that, because I didn't know about how good BYU was, honestly, as far as like the school goes, and I got really lucky that I got into the accounting program, which is rated really highly. But I really just was excited to be in what my people might disagree with, right? But it's like the Lord's University. Because I just enjoyed the idea of meeting professionals, like professors who had my same beliefs and that were just like really articulate about them and that knew what they were talking about, and I assumed would be like wise not only with like secular things but also probably in their spiritual side. And I don't know, and that's something I've loved this entire time, that all the teachers that I've had, I can tell have had strong testimonies and they would share them, and I just feel like they're such good people. And that's what I was looking for, I think, just to be exposed to those kinds of people who are professionals but are also very Christ-like. And I don't know, I just think kids are amazing too, like all the students are great, and yeah.
What do you think makes BYU a unique university?
I think it's unique that professors can let themselves maybe be led by the Spirit in class. You know, that if they feel like I should share, like I've had several professors be like, I wasn't gonna share this, and then they might go into a story, you know, like something very personal maybe, and you can tell that they just like, they love God, and they can talk about maybe how it was Heavenly Father who inspired them to work here in the first place, and like some of them took big pay cuts to become professors here at the university. And so I don't know, it's really meaningful to me because again it shows me that people, like good people, so many professionals are willing to place God first and have that be the priority and have God lead them in their lives, in their professional lives. It's not just money and power and whatever, like God will show you what you need to do. Yeah.
Excellent. Anything that we haven't talked about that you think would be important to what we've been doing here? Anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to say about it? And no is an acceptable answer.
Oh, I don't want to get really emotional. Okay, I'm not trying not to. Okay, but
We like emotion.
oh yeah, I know, but I don't want to do it. Okay.
No, I know. That's the hard part. That's the hard part.
Yeah. I guess just that, and I think the best teachers I've had are the ones that have, like, oh my gosh, I'm right. Okay. That have been willing to, really share their testimonies and be super open, and because that's, I think, the kind of people that I look up to. Like, I've always wanted to be a really competent professional, someone who is like ambitious and just can get things done, and it's just really cool to just have these amazing examples of professors who really take their spiritual life seriously, like really do want to follow Christ and God, and you can see how they subjugate other things to that priority. And so I think it's like really important when professors share their testimony and they're just good examples and they share stories about their life that show that priority, and that, because they're just good examples, like I said, and they can make me want to be more like that, and they're models to me. That's it. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's like so,
Excellent.
yeah.
That's